Was there a tape at the time? Oh yes, yeah. I guess it's better to just kind of like. Did actually those people who were able to log on to LabCT? Did they say why they're confused?
I'm on now, but the rebuild is going on now. So I need to check later today.
They told me actually to go my ID card. So it's not really yet, so.
Oh wow. Have you spoken to them? Because they did that to me as well, and then I had to speak to the guy over here, and then spoke to the guy from Manchester twice.
That was the number I rang, so when you left on MCT, and they just said, go pick up your ID card, which I did on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And instead of doing this, I think that was through yet.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think my house on last Friday. Not this one.
Alright.
No, I've got the temporary one, so then it was October. Some desks on reception. How are we doing? I can't do that, actually.
I think in between we can also move about when once we're into the workshop. There are 1, 2, 4, 6, 7 to be an odd number, so that gives us actually an opportunity that one person might just jump out and record or take pictures and stuff like that. So there are some things where we pair up, there are some things where we move about. It starts quite slowly, and I'll do a little bit of an introduction. Everyone probably knows me. I'm Carola Boehm. I'm one of the PLs here in the Department of Contemporary Art. The funny thing is that I actually come from sort of music, technology, science background, so I crossed the sort of disciplines to a certain extent. But over the years, teaching both the sort of the creative users as well as the creative developers, I sort of realized that what is actually quite useful is to make very explicit what diversity there is of initiating creative processes in the whole of the art. And that's where I started off. This was actually 10 years where I started off. This was a workshop which is actually constantly running somewhere in some form or the other. Just before I forget, so please do remind me at the end of the session, I do have some books here which I draw from for some of these exercises because I actually worked with specific practitioners from specific fields which developed pedagogical methodologies, whatever you want to call them, how to train this process of initiating creative processes. And I've got some of the books here, and I've got then also behind it a paper which was published which sort of outlines the whole thing and sort of allows you to recap everything which we've done actually here. So this is a sort of workshop. There are little exercises, as you can see, sort of any everyday objects, and it will provide us a sort of brief experience with a wide variety of distinct forms of creative processes, how to initiate creative processes. And I don't know if you've experienced from your areas, at least in my areas, there were two dominant methodologies how to initiate creative processes. You have one form that you consider is inspiration, or how do we get inspiration. And I call it, but some other people call it under a different term, but I call it a sort of improvisational model, where you just sit down, make connections by yourself, and that's, or be inspired by something. And that's a sort of improvisational model. The other major model that I've come across, but that might be also because I'm sort of music technology, is a sort of more restrictive mode, which is more than in sort of tools development when you're in a situation, for instance, in music in my case, developing tools for your creative art. There's more a restrictive approach, which is much more closer to the sort of lab approaches of the sciences. But those were the predominant methodologies that I came across, and I wanted to sort of open it up. And it actually started off as a postgraduate seminar, given for initially only composers, performers, music performers, and engineers and computer scientists. So those people who develop tools for creative context, as well as those people who really use these tools for creating creative artifacts. And then it sort of opened up into dance, stage design, things like that. But we'll start right into it, and you'll see how it goes along. It's based on the exercises that you might have done before. They're very classic. And I also mentioned the sort of practitioners from which they actually came. The classics are well known. We'll start off with one. So if you take some paper, each one of you maybe take 2 or 3 pieces of paper. And feel free to take anything on the table. There's loads of pens, thick pens, thin pens, different kinds of pens, staplers. So feel free to take anything from here. But in 1 second, draw a circle. Okay, let's see those circles. Just hold them up. It's very clear. A circle is a circle. They all are very similar. The only difference is that it's the color, maybe the type of pen. So there is a preformed view in the real world. This is trivial, but we'll get into the crucial point. There's a sort of pre-formatted things in our mind that make us see things in a certain way. I want you now to turn the piece of paper around and in 1 second draw a frustrated circle. So can you see those frustrated circles? So you see there's already a bit more a bit more diversity. And what actually happened is that we used a non-normative adjective in combination with a noun to break up our patterns in our mind. So that's one tool that we can use. We can use a non-normative adjective to sort of spark off something which breaks the patterns that are in our mind. The next one is a lovely, rather hypnotic little exercise. If you take one of those, actually, and it gets us just, early in the morning, we'll do the whole thing. Sometimes when it's short in time, I skip this and I just explain, but it's just lovely to do it. If you mark a sphere 5 by 15, so 5 down and 15 across, or the other way around, it doesn't matter. And then choose sequence of numbers using the numbers from 1 to 4. So either choose 2, 4, 3, 1, 2, 4, 3, 1, or choose another sequence and repeat it going along the whole line and then going from row to row. So you could just do 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, but you don't have to do 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1. And just put them in. Don't change the sequence. Just write it along the lines and then continue the next row where you left off.
Numbers or actually
Just the numbers.
Oh, right.
You're 1 step ahead.